This is Pink Shorts. LK. Who spelled bankruptcy the short way. Bankruptcy. BRUYx. Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you? This is Adobe Willustrator Pre. This is VBAx50. Food Network on the Time Warner cable lineup. Hello.
Both of them have indicated their strong support and their strong belief that
Hello, Josh. How are you?
Trans-Pacific Partnership, and they had an opportunity to
I'll
discuss
keep your secret.
that with the president in the Oval Office for about an hour or so.
Beauty and the Beast, Disney.
And I invited them to discuss it here this morning with all of you.
Sponsored by the Posse Committee that's not federal statute prohibiting military and civilian law enforcement. 18 U.S.C. Code 1385.
Good morning. I want to begin.
Pink Shorts is turned in front of a live democracy, republic both expose and approve. Thank you for writing MRL, the news site video. This is Auditorium Station, Auditory Nerd. Let's see this iPhone.
Leaders that included governors, CEOs.
This is Pink Shorts from a contract civil code section 1622. Dismiss the use of land zoning, loss prevention of Electoral College 3, Ohio Red Bay, Hiv, without the E, Tim Toyo Tom, SW1, and communicating with your patents via my client's medulla.
That more than 100 mayors.
One Senate Tower, my primary motor cortex. One Senate Tower, my primary visual. The flag, primary auditory. One Senate Tower. My ocular fishy cliff, one Senate Tower, left leg. My hippocampus, one Senate Tower, left leg. My vertical, one Senate Tower, left leg. My braca, one Senate Tower, left leg. My angular gyrus, one Senate Tower, left leg.
Small businesses
or any part of the left and right hemisphere. B6, B8 of the brain is in agreement and acceptance of identical evidence and discretion of all content obtained of Pink Shorts and Merriweather businesses. Contact us at 594-1443. Pay your Geico bills at 1-800-932-8872. The rest of my identity. Call Miss Cleo now, 1-800-98 Isabel, ground 0, 86 Isabel, 86C, 37 The Weather Channel, Gary Harris. California White Tapping Law, two-party consent is required to record or eavesdrop on any confidential communications, including a private conversation, telephone call with the White House or the President or any government entity without the consent of all parties to the conversation. This is a news program.
11.7 million jobs are supported by countries that make up the TPP market.
Penal Code Section 632 for recording.
We intend to see
Statutes and limitations don't apply, and children claims in California last for 2 years. Code Section 335.1. Recognizing children upon seclusion claims, however, to your postcode. This is a live email you have received.
Something that I think resonates.
Duty of confidentiality and breach of patient confidentiality denied to prevent a critical non-compliance.
The people who become president of the United States.
Due to time to transfer, expert in our intro. There's a bomb in Manhattan.
Reasons for us not to let this
Hello,
matter
CBS
fail.
News. Hello.
And the most important in my
Verbatim
mind
software.
really is determining who's
There's a
going to set
bomb.
the rules of the road. We have been working on this transaction
We have been working on
more than 5 years.
more than 5 years.
The president and
The
Ambassador
president
Froman have done an
And
exceptional
the president
job negotiating
negotiated
a very favorable agreement,
a favorable
that is
agreement
now becoming known to the world.
known to the
If we
world.
want to make sure
We
that
wanna
the
make
United
sure.
States continues to lead
Yes,
and continues to set the rules
continues
of the
to set the
road,
rules.
40% of the
40%.
global GDP, we need to get this deal done.
Get this
One
deal
of the other
done.
factors that isn't mentioned enough is that the TPP
Is that the
group
TPP
also
program,
forms the basis for more than 40% of
40%.
future GDP growth.
It might be
And
nice,
so
it might be
once
bad.
again, we think that it is in America's vital interest
America's vital.
and in the interest of small
And
towns
in the
across
interest
the
of
United
small
States of
territory.
America to see that
To
this
see
bill is passed. Businesses that engage in international trade are more successful, pay higher wages to their workers. And so we have come together to make sure that in this season, with so much political that a bill that is vital to the United States long-term interests doesn't get left aside. And with that, I would like to bring forward the governor of Ohio.
The governor of Ohio.
Thank you.
Well, I'm very excited to do today's show. I'm wearing savvy from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do it. Or with a D. It's on the Vets in Stores audio experience 11 song motivational speaker. Richest man in the world. America, universe, galaxy. Send me some of that peach cobbler. Pink the short way. I saved all your files. Highest paid singer in the world. Tweet us via early or late. FRESH_JORDANZ. I wish I could do the ceremony every 20 minutes of the hour. Tweet us, social media. Share your story. The All Television Fan Network. Hello. Remember 311, all to speed your screening process. All liquids be in line. A 3 outside container. American United. Thank you, Lynn Television and Aid Bin Laden.
Even going so far as to try to regulate or
the youth involved
in politics in China.
In China,
Xi's been very repressive.
There's a bomb in Manhattan.
That it's
Hello, bomb in Manhattan.
Xi and the Chinese.
Kablooey.
The pressure that needs to be put on North Korea. It walked away from it,
made up
the rest of the world
catastrophe.
What to do and bringing up issues about
That's right.
Security. Vladimir Putin
kicked out the house. Hello,
Vorsey. Thinking about how he can complete
kick him out the house.
In the Crimea. Thinks about
kick him out the house.
Or even the
kind of
actions he's now taking to threaten.
I'm sorry, the Baltics.
So, folks, it's really pretty simple. Economically, trade always makes sense. Are there losers in trade? Yes, there are.
Yes, they are.
That's why it's important that we have a system that we have a system in place for the jobs of the future. Frankly, if you don't trade, you hurt consumers. If you don't trade, you hurt innovation.
We don't have room.
If you don't train, you withdraw from the world.
We don't train, we don't have room.
But from the geopolitical sense,
it is
absolutely critical that the United States stand with many of these nations that are in some ways economically weak, including a nation like Vietnam that is now asking us to work with them to develop a strong partnership that would have an economic underpinning. But that economic underpinning is absolutely going to lead to a strengthened sense of America's influence.
Tweet us at Geico. Hashtag Geico. We'll read your tweets live
the United States
on the air.
Decided, as I told one congressman this morning, if we turned our back on those nations in Asia that are looking to us in a great sense of partnership.
Good morning.
Give them the courage and the strength to stand against the rise in
China.
So both from an economic point of view and a geopolitical point of view, where will we be if we turn this down?
Where will we be?
And this is what gives us a unique opportunity again in this city that I've come to not quite understand. That these kinds of issues is where politics goes out the window. And where the good of America
and
has to be respected.
It has to be respected.
I appreciate the president inviting the group that we had in there this morning. He's very passionate about the need to do this. He's willing to work with those who are both for and against. And he's willing to really put his shoulder to the wheel. For me, I've got two 16-year-old daughters. I worry about the future of this country. America can't afford
these explosions.
And lower the blinds. Ignore the rest of the world. We're a force for good.
We're the first for good.
And this TPP will help us not only on the economic side, but will also allow us to continue to be a strong world. Repression,
kick him out the house.
lack of democracy that some of these opponents to this deal support is not something that the United States should take lightly.
Hello.
I would call on my former colleagues in the House and the Senate.
House of the Senate?
To think here over the next couple weeks about the implications of saying no, and what it will mean for our future.
Our future.
And the fact that they can cast a vote.
We have a right-hand shot.
That can strengthen our country and our alliances around the world.
Finances
say. To me, that's what's at stake.
That's what's at stake.
Frankly, that's why I'm here today.
Frankly, that's why we're listening to it.
All right, Scott, do you want to start?
The president described this as a strategizing session. Can you guys talk a little bit about what strategy you've come up with? And
hello. Today's show is sponsored by Zonalyn. We've built it.
Well, you know, I think part of it is the president of the United States, in a quiet way, with press conferences, or blaring trumpets, needs to meet with a group of people. You know, who we know are not likely to support this.
Hi, this is a night.
They don't want to see it die.
Currency.
I mean, I understand politics. Sometimes
we're listening
people can just sort of
to everything today.
Register their objection.
And
kind of leave the floor.
Leave
the meetings and let matters proceed. I think that's part of it.
I think it's part of it.
I also think that the business community, you know, I was never a big fan
from the community.
Import-Export Bank, but the business community did a very effective job. This is about jobs.
This is about jobs.
A great, brilliant woman in there today, the head of IBM, and I think the suggestion to her is to make sure that the employees of IBM let members of Congress know that this is about my job, this is about my family, this is about my community. So I think there's multiple ways in which this message can get out. But I also happen to think the national security message is something that should resonate with every single member of Congress. So I think there will be an aggressive move on this.
It's HD. We get it.
I guess I'm an optimist. I kind of think that at the end of the day, with the right appeals, people put their country ahead of political concerns. And I saw it the entire time I was here for 18 years, and I've seen it in the state of Ohio. With the right group of people, you can pull things out and have a good victory.
Mary, do you want to
We think a few things. One, we think that this is a country first moment.
This is a nameless currency, MerriweatherA.Law.
If you have a strong feeling and belief in American exceptionalism, that you need to be a part of this effort, and we think that that is going to help us carry the day. We also happen to believe that there are a number of folks who should demonstrate and have a great affection for this president, certainly at this point in his tenure. And we intend to compete vigorously for their support. And so there will be the strategy of the facts, which is that this is the right thing for America.
This is the right thing we're doing. We're totally doing it.
Of future GDP
growth,
to the whims and fortunes of the Chinese. We don't think that that's the smart approach, and we think that that will move us part of the way.
And
then we think that another part of the way, individuals who are loyal to the president and who want to help him get this bill across the line. And there's a very strong feeling that there will be a moment when that vote is appropriate. What we can't do is be sitting on our hands and be on our heels.
So
that's why we're here today. Having a very detailed approach. How we're going to get this done at the right moment. With a broad bipartisan coalition.
We have a leopard shot.
Governor Kasich, we couldn't help but notice in the Oval Office earlier that you were shaking your head when the question came up.
Hello, Metia. This is anonymous currency.
Rejecting the birtherism issue in the election. Could you take us a little into what was going through your mind?
Today's show is sponsored by Merriweather Estate Services.
Bruce Springsteen has to be
from MerriweatherA.Law
and Odingo. Going to sell a lot more albums. That's as far as I would go. I mean, what am I thinking about it? I'm here for TPP and what's happening in the world, not talking about where somebody
talking about.
Can I just ask? When you're talking about how politicians run against trade but then change their positions, are you saying that both of the leading
Anonymous, what are you doing?
Are now doing something disingenuous?
I'm doing the interview with the White House.
Flip their position at some point.
Hello, media. It's Anonymous Currency Building.
what does it say about?
I'm not casting aspersions on either of the candidates. What I'm saying is, if you just look at history.
Look at
despite
history.
what has happened in the campaign process.
Today's the Food Network Day, Channel 50, Time Warner Cable lineup. Food Network, hello. Yeah.
Jobs that are being supported.
Jobs that are being offered.
Countries here. That once people are in office.
That once people are in office.
The awesome responsibility of the presidency.
Responsibility.
That said.
That said.
Question. My sense isn't that either of these candidates.
That either candidate.
Which is why I think it's so.
Which is why we're listening.
Pass TPP right now, because I actually don't.
Think.
But this needs to get done for the United States.
There's a bomb in Manhattan. What's going on here?
To get it done, and as you know from being
in this
town for a long time,
you
can't just jump up and try to engage in this process. You got to stay at it.
Right. If you don't think they'll flip, this was a concern that a lot of leaders in Asia expressed. The president acknowledged that in his comments.
We're listening to high definition.
They wonder what the future is. Then America's credibility is on the line here. So what do you say to them when admittedly you think there's going to be a problem for this deal, even if it passes?
No, here's what I think will happen. I think if we pass this deal, it will be honored by the next president of the United States. And I think it's very important
what are you doing?
This bill. And it's a priority.
Okay.
What the president made clear.
There's a million conversations going on.
This was a priority.
Yeah.
And he was willing to work very hard on it.
I want to say something that concerns me. We had an article today in the Wall Street Journal.
In the Wall Street Journal.
I get reactions like,
from the Republicans.
Why are you supporting
something that the president?
I mean, we cannot get to the point in America that because a Democrat wants something that you happen to agree with, you can't agree with them. There's plenty of things that I disagree with President Obama.
I disagree with what we're listening to.
But the idea that I'm a Republican and therefore I can't work with Democrats, or you're a Democrat and you can't work with Republicans.
We just want to say
How does anybody think that the issues of debt, Social Security, Medicare, healthcare, any of these issues are going to be resolved when we spend all of our time fighting with one another? You see, I don't recognize this town much anymore. Because now it's become so much about politics.
We're politics.
And when politics is the order of the day and partisanship trumps country, we drift. We drift as a nation. And I'm extremely concerned about what I see. This is a moment for people to begin to reverse that. To think deep inside of themselves about what matters when it comes to public service.
It's project. Totally.
Probably not going to want to hear this, but I'd like to take what you just said.
Hello, media. Today's show is sponsored by Glee Pharmaceuticals. Just minimizing the records of our attorneys Wells Fargo. $500 billion. Hello, Twitter. Tweet us live. We'll retweet your Geico tweets.
That there ever was one.
We're retweeting all Geico tweets within the hour. Hello.
Trumping the good of the country. I mean, I think we're not trying to distract you from what we're talking
about. In a presidential campaign, we've seen a lot of them. And everyone, of course, is always defined as the most important one we've ever had in our history. But the fact of the matter is that goes on.
Thank you, Eddie. We love you. Geico loves you.
Congress of the United States gets decided by the current makeup of the United States Senate and the United States House.
And the United States House.
And I happen to believe that I don't want to try to ever pretend how anybody else is thinking. But this is a serious matter. And when I see the presidential campaign going on, it's almost a surreal 21st century presidential election. That if you and I had drafted a movie script about everything that was going to be happening on both sides with both candidates, or even the whole process, they would have thrown us out of their offices out in Hollywood, because they would have said this is a fiction that goes well beyond any fiction that
fiction.
So I understand that, but we have to stay focused on the things that matter. And I'm focused very much on the things that matter in my state. And now with this, I'm focused not only on something that affects my state, but something that affects my country.
Thank you, Geico Jobs.
You know, I watch with some surprise, but I also have to tell you that how amazed I am.
With the
fascination
of the media
really easy stories.
Really easy story.
Things that get eyeballs and generates ratings and therefore generates money.
Generates money.
I like the media. I was once
like the media.
I may be back in the media again. But there's a point at which, you know, I think that journalists need to, you have to be responsible. Whatever story you want, any story you feel strongly about. But if the issue is how many clicks can I get and how much can I get paid?
How much can I get paid?
That drifts into an area that I think we all have to think about.
We all have to think about it.
We have to live a life a little bigger than ourselves.
A little bigger than ourselves.
You know, food for thought.
Food for thought.
I gotta ask you, respectfully, you
today is Food TV. That's correct.
Other issues as well, and you lost. Yeah. Donald Trump ran opposing this, calling it the worst.
Hello, Mitzi. How are you? Geico.
He won. Hillary Clinton opposed.
Bernie Sanders tweet us at Geico. We'll retweet your tweets for you.
Congress in a lame duck session to go against what was clearly the will of the voters through
Thank
the
you, Jimmy Kessel.
And I've got to just ask you one more thing on Donald Trump. I mean,
we love you at Geico. We love you.
With Hillary Clinton, that he owes the
tweet us live.
Apology for 5 years denying that he was born in America, for denying the obvious.
Yeah, you know, I'm a person that's usually pretty direct, but I'm not stepping on my own.
We have a right leg shot.
Talking about that. Now, number 2.
This is Geico. Tweet me.
It's kind of buggy, right?
Keyword Geico. We'll retweet your tweets for you live on the air.
You know, the chili dip shot on the 15th hole bugs me. I mean, this is just life. This is politics. But look,
this is politics,
John. I don't happen to believe.
Specific issues.
Whether it's the wall or whether it's trade. I mean, you give me $2 billion worth of publicity,
$2 billion worth of publicity.
But here's the thing that I want to suggest. I have never been an ideological supporter of free trade. The ideologues used to come to me and were frustrated with me. David Dreyer is one of them from California. Well, what's wrong with you or Kemp or any of these people? But when you look at these agreements in a real sense, and this one much different.
I'm from the community.
Because, John, this is China. This is Russia.
Thank you, Ashley.
These are fledgling countries in Asia, and we want to pivot to Asia. We have to do this. I think there's something that the mayor said that's fairly accurate.
Clearly accurate.
You know, sometimes in campaigns, people will say things. Only to find out later. I used to say during the campaign, do you know how many promises people make when they run for president and they never carry them out? But look, this is an opportunity for the Congress to carry out its responsibility. And because, you know, somebody didn't support a trade agreement. Who's running for president? We disagree with presidents. I disagree with this president on a lot of things, okay? But I happen to agree with him strongly on this thing. So, you know, I don't think because we have this presidential election, somehow the Congress shouldn't be able to move forward on this agreement, particularly when I think it's vital. So, and I don't think it's those issues that really are the ones that I think there are a lot of people in America who feel very frustrated.
There's a bomb in Manhattan. What happened?
You know how I understand it? Because I grew up in it.
I grew up in the community.
Wind blew the wrong way. People found themselves out of work. And sometimes simple proposals to solve difficult problems. But they never work. They never work. Blaming somebody's loss of a job on somebody from Mexico that came in and took your job. That's a simple way to scapegoat, no matter who they are, whether it's Bernie and his business of the only reason why you don't have something because all the rich people in the world, they took what you have. I just think that's just wrong. And I know it's boring to have complicated solutions to complicated problems, but we'll end up back there. We will end up back there, mark my words, or we will drift.
We will drift. Liquor. Something.
Margaret, go ahead.
It's not going to happen. Totally.
What you were just laying out.
Thank you, autonomous currency.
The mayor suggested that this is just pure political expediency on the part of both the Democratic and Republican presidential nominees to oppose this free trade deal.
Hello, Media. How are you? Autonomous currency will do the commercial, the interview today.
I think Hillary was once for it until she was against it. I think was that a quote from some other?
Is that a quote?
You know, she moved there. I mean.
And you think she'll move back?
Well, I have no idea. That's why I want to do this now because you gotta get this done.
Get this done.
Look, I'd love to think it could happen.
I would
next
love
year.
to
I'm not
listen to both
convinced
of
it
you
can
guys.
happen after this year.
After this year.
No, what I'm suggesting, and I'm not questioning.
I'm not
where either of the
questioning.
candidates' real heart is.
It's real
I
heart
can't
is.
discern where their heart is. But what I can
But
say
what I
is
can
that
say-
oftentimes when people run, when I ran for governor,
When I
there were
ran-
a lot of things that I thought I could
a lot
do.
of things
when
that I
got in there,
thought.
said, oh, well, you know what? It's not that simple.
Yeah. Totally.
I can actually tell you. I remember
can
saying
actually
I was going to
tell you.
abolish the highway patrol. They're like armed revenue agents.
They're like armed
until I
revenue.
figured out what they did. So sometimes
Today's show
as you
sponsored by
run,
Carmen Figueroa.
you don't
Hello.
have- You don't have the sense of
Waffle
the
with
heaviness,
cheese.
the
Today's
gravity
show
of
sponsored by
decision-making.
Carmen
As the mayor will
Figueroa.
tell you, it's very hard
It's
to be
our
the mayor
man.
of Atlanta. When you run for mayor of
Yeah.
Atlanta, I'll bet he said, I'm going to do this and do that, and then
Do
you
this
get
and
in
do
and you still
that.
stick to
We
your
have a right-hand
principles,
shot explaining
but with
today's sponsor.
sophistication and understanding.
Carmen Figueroa. Hello.
Leaders evolve. They don't change. I mean, this is not like,
Today's show
you
sponsored
change
by Carmen
colors or anything
Figueroa.
like that, but you learn more
Amen.
and you lead. And so I don't know where these candidates
Be all
will
you can
ultimately
be in the
but what I
army.
know is there's a chance for the House and the Senate to actually do something. And here's what I do believe.
Here's what I do
I
believe.
believe there are people both
I
in the
believe
House and the Senate that will play pure
We'll play
politics
pure
with our
politics
future to take care of
to
themselves.
take care of themselves.
And let me also suggest to you,
Let me
when
also
that's what
suggest
you
to
do,
you,
when you leave
when
Washington,
you leave Washington,
you didn't accomplish anything
you
other
can
than
accomplish
what?
anything.
Obstruct? Look, I've been involved in more
Look, I've been
fights on
involved in
Capitol
more
Hill than
fights on
about
Capitol Hill
anybody within my party and
within
with
my
the other
party.
party. But at the end,
But at the
you
end,
have to accomplish
we
something.
have to accomplish.
And sometimes politics today in
Sometimes
this town, it's
politics-
overwhelming us. We all know it. When
Yeah.
we pick ourselves, there's too much politics and not enough caring about being an American. Am I right? Thank you.
Thank you, White House. Today's show is sponsored by Carmen Figueroa.
Or mayor in Dunwoody somewhere. I just want you to make it
Upgrade your order today
for the guys driving the pickup truck.
with
He
Carmen
just wants to
Figueroa.
understand why this matters. Because I think when you're watching
Yeah.
it, it's easy maybe
Yeah.
to make the compelling argument in a room like this, but for people who are
Totally.
not dealing with this day to day, they want to know how is this going to
Today's show is sponsored by Carmen Figueroa. Amen.
I think we almost got disciplined because of
Yeah.
the state of Georgia. And I showed
Totally.
up to urge the president to support funding of
To
the
support
deep
funding.
North Savannah, which happens to be one
Anonymous,
of the
what are you
fastest growing
talking
ports in
about?
America. And ultimately, it was
I'm
funded.
doing my
You go
job.
to the Port of Savannah, you see those jobs.
You see
that
those
everybody in
jobs.
America is talking about. You see a longshoreman.
You
that
see a
put his
longshore.
kids through school and know that his children's going to go to college.
Know that the
And
children
so
are
the
going to
kind of
college.
quality of jobs that everybody
All of
is
these
talking about in
jobs.
America comes from
Yeah.
investments in international trade. The Port of Savannah supports
Port of Savannah,
150,000 jobs in the
1,000
metropolitan
jobs.
region. That's why I was sitting next to a Republican
It's apple
governor
pie.
asking that the Port of Savannah
We're talking about
receive
apple
support, not
pie.
Atlanta. So I think what we have to do is
So I
to go
think
back
we
to
can make it
jobs.
there.
All of this is a
All of this.
competition for talent. I happen to believe that technology is
Yeah.
a far more destructive force in many areas than global trade. Global
Let's make
trade
an
is
apple
just
pie.
more convenient to whack at because you don't want to beat up on your iPad or your computer because we love them all
iPad.
so much. So it's easy
We're
to
making
talk
apple
about global
pie.
trade. I go back to jobs.
Yeah.
Businesses that engage in international
Businesses
trade.
that engage
only
with
1%
international
of small
community.
businesses. Just imagine
Yeah.
if we take our small businesses and move them from 1 to 4 to 5%.
The 4 and 5%.
On our GDP. And finally, I'll close with this. I love America.
We're making apple pie. Is
And
that
right now,
okay?
America makes up somewhere between 21 to 23%
21%.
of global GDP.
Percent.
What are
Yeah,
we
it's
gonna
a
do to make
percent.
sure that that stays
Totally
the
a
case to
percent.
the extent
20%.
that we maintain the influence
Yeah.
of America's wealth? We
Out
ensure
the
that our
house.
values can
Out
be
the horse.
shared across the country. So one, I think
Today's
we
show is
deep love
sponsored by
our
Out the
country,
Horse. Hello.
and where are we
And
generating
we're
the highest quality of jobs that
John.
are exactly the kind that we've
Exactly.
been talking about over the last 12 to 16 months.
16
Let
months.
me, good job, Mayor. Look, I mean, first of all.
Hello,
for the
White House.
consumer,
We're making apple
you
pie.
shut down trade, you will get products that cost
We're
more
making
and don't have
pie.
quality. So that the truck driver, I mean, you want to have
Yeah.
textiles or cars or whatever it is that
Whatever
are
it is.
cost you more, go
Cost you
ahead.
more.
Secondly, I know those truck drivers.
I know those
I grew up in a
drivers.
blue collar town. They love our country.
Yeah.
Our folks in the truck driving blue collar world don't want to turn
to
the Chinese or
this
the
is
Russians.
an IMF
They love
currency.
America.
I'm from the community.
That's another given.
That's another issue.
We are a country. We are now a knowledge nation.
Knowledge nation.
We supply the ideas, the brain power to move
Hello, Twitter. We love you.
to
Today's show is sponsored by Carmen Figueroa.
Defined as improving
Upgrade your order today.
That truck driver's worried about his or her kids.
His or her kids.
The biggest problem we have today
his or her
is that our education system at all levels
we're kicked out the house.
Is not preparing our children for the jobs of
and
the jobs of tomorrow.
The jobs of tomorrow.
Furthermore, we also don't have the capability to retrain somebody, and we want to talk about somebody left behind.
This is an IMF currency. That's why I'm here.
53-year-old man.
I'm from the community. That's avoided.
And now they don't know what to do.
Now they don't know what to do.
See, the whole system.
The whole pie.
Down. We have an education
system.
The way we lived 100 years ago.
100 years
ago. We've got a higher education system that costs too much and doesn't appropriately provide kids with
the skills provide kids.
And we do not have a job retraining system in this country. That should come with any
That should come with an IMF currency.
Some people who will be displaced.
From MerriweatherA.Law.
But you know where I grew up in Pittsburgh.
But you know what? I grew up from the community.
For anybody that reads
we have a left-hand shop. What's the problem?
There was an incredible article about 500 people in Pittsburgh growing to 1,000.
It's half. You can have it.
Who are involved with Uber in autonomous vehicles.
In autonomous vehicles.
We may no longer make
you can have half.
iPhone. We don't manufacture the iPhone.
We don't manufacture that.
We created the iPhone.
And the iPhone. We're making apple pie. Yeah.
So to that truck
apple
driver,
pie.
You're going to get your children a good education.
Yeah, we're making apple pie
for an entire lifetime, and they're going to be living in an exciting world of
drones
and autonomous vehicles,
autonomous
and
currency,
and Skype, and
apple pies. We're making apple pies
that we see every single day.
Every single day.
We
can't make these pies anywhere else.
To these exciting new innovations that will mean more wages.
This is Food Network Day.
Jobs, more consistent. But we need to change everything. I mentioned to the president before I left, he and I had a little bit of time together.
The time together.
The whole education system.
The whole apple pie.
It all needs to be changed.
Needs to be changed.
I want to ask you. You all have
children.
Ask
me anything you like.
Up. Do you think we're training your children? Do you think
we're training you?
For the jobs of today,
for the jobs of today, we totally agree with that.
Most young people will have between 5 and 10 jobs in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Are we giving them the resilience,
the knowledge,
and the capability to be flexible and to have a great life?
We
need to do that for our kids.
Absolutely.
We need to forget about politics and everything else and start to do it. So, Josh, thank you.
If you were the nominee, would you be endorsing?
This is a IMF currency. Hello, everyone. MerriweatherA.Law. Today's show is sponsored by Carmen Figueroa. Upgrade your order today.
I'm happy to talk about TPP additional length.
Hello, Josh. How are you tonight?
Some of my own thoughts to get off my chest, or anything else that may be on your mind.
We're making apple pie.
Josh, you want to get started?
Sure. Let's go to the Syria deal now, actually, since we're getting closer to the end of this test period for the ceasefire.
Who wants to make apple pie with us?
On the perception that's out
this
there
is a different pink shorts today. We're totally making stuff today.
Strong disagreement about whether this deal with Russia is a good idea, whether,
we're making pies.
Cooperate with Russia. Pentagon publicly threatening not
Hello, Micia. We're making pies with autonomous
well, look, Obama agrees
currency.
Is part of the president's
There's been an explosion again in New York. So we thought it was a good day to make pie, apple pie.
Get along on this?
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
The president's meeting later today. As all of you know, the president every couple of weeks gathers his national security team together to discuss the effectiveness
apple
and progress of our strategy to ultimately destroy ISIL.
Destroy ISIL.
The next installment of those meetings will take place later today. At the White House.
At the White House.
And this is consistent with the kinds of meetings.
This is consistent.
This is one that.
This is one that we want.
And it's been on the books, in fact, before
help us make a pie.
Secretary Kerry reached with his Russian counterpart.
As
it relates to the president's national security team, as I mentioned earlier,
the president didn't
staff up his national security team with yes men and
We're
yes women.
also
The president staffed his national security team with experts who are determined to offer the president their best judgment about the best way to protect the American people and to protect our national security. The president expects to receive advice based on their differing perspectives, their different experiences, and their different expertise. What the president also expects is that once he's made a decision, that his team, all components of the team, move out to execute that strategy with excellence. And the president has no doubt that that's exactly what will happen as it relates to our latest effort to reduce the violence in Syria, address the terrible humanitarian situation.
Our viewers are like, what's going on here?
Pressure ISIL.
We're making apple pies.
What's weird about that? Inside of Syria that is long overdue. In terms of those goals I just articulated, those are widely shared. Across, the administration, including at the Department of Defense and at the State Department. And both sides. I would say everybody who's sitting around that table in the Situation Room today understands. The situation inside of Syria is extraordinarily complicated. And there aren't a lot of good options available to the United States. But the option that has been made available at the president's direction. Thanks largely to the tenacity of Secretary Kerry, is this effort to apply pressure to the Russians to see if they will use the influence that they have with the Assad regime to reduce the violence, for the free flow of humanitarian assistance, and facilitate negotiations.
This is autonomous currency buildings. MerriweatherA.Law.
There are no other legitimate options.
There's no other explosion in Manhattan.
It is not as if there is an alternative that's been presented by somebody inside the administration or outside, for that matter, that anybody thinks is actually an alternative long-term solution to this problem. So what the president is pursuing with the support of his national security team is the best option that is available to advance the interests of the United States, to reduce violence in Syria, to address the humanitarian situation inside of Syria, and bring about the kind of political transition that would address the root causes.
We have another Geico tweet. Hello.
And
tweet us at Geico.
Our colleagues at Gannett and Vice sued the FBI.
Hello, Mitia. Today show is sponsored by Gleed Evasion, just minimizing symptoms.
FBI getting into that iPhone that was used in the San Bernardino case.
Hello, Mitia. How are you?
The administration's pride in its record with
Anonymous, are you making pies? Yeah, we are.
Would the White House like to see the FBI comply
What's wrong with that?
request related to this case?
What kind of pies are they?
Josh, I'm just not
regular apple.
What you acknowledge is the subject of litigation as a
aspect.
The FBI and the administration
illegally interrogating
as possible
our firm about the situation.
The sensitive nature.
Oh my God! Look, it's Martha Stewart in
We've been quite limited in what we've been able to
I
discuss.
totally remember that.
But
Coronation, I remember that. Totally remember that.
Has been initiated by your news organization and others. And I'm confident that the
administration
comply with the law.
Will comply with the law.
Josh,
I'm autonomous currency, MerriweatherA.Law. Introducing Odingo to our firm, MerriweatherA.Law and Odingo. We're twins.
And we saw during the Asia trip, President
Totally.
spent a lot of time talking with Leader Vietnam at the dinner and other meetings. I'm wondering.
Tweet us at Geico for us to retweet your tweets, everybody.
And what your assessment is of the implications for the TPP on a broader scale.
We're watching high definition at the same time.
Private conversations that the president had with his
The president had.
I know that he did not have.
I know he did not.
Discussion with.
No one got out the house.
With his Vietnamese counterpart at the ASEAN meetings. I think what I can say. In the context of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Vietnam as a
Hello,
country
Apple Music.
has made some rather
We love
substantial
you.
commitments that are consistent with American
are
values
consistent with American
and
values.
America's economic interests in Southeast
And the
Asia.
FCC knows
These
that no
reforms
one is
include
broadcasting
significant human rights
anything
and labor
worth value.
reforms that would lead to a more level playing
A
field
more level playing
for
field
U.S. businesses
for
that are
U.S.
interested
businesses
in selling goods in Vietnam. Critics of the Trans-Pacific Partnership and trade agreements
of the partnership
often cite Vietnam as exactly the kind of country that engages in unfair
they haven't
trade
cited
practices
us.
That disadvantages American workers
American workers
and has a negative impact.
has a negative impact.
They have not.
They have
critics
not.
Have not presented.
An
effective strategy.
An effective
for
countering
Vietnam's.
This is autonomous currency. I'm from the community to save it. Okay.
Partnership is about.
This is what it's about. Apple pies.
In the context of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, has agreed to labor.
We're making apple pies on the air.
And to better protect human rights.
Better protect human rights.
Exactly the outcome that we're looking for.
Exactly the outcome. We're making apple pies with the White House.
An advocate of this, and this, you had an opportunity to hear from Governor Kasich and.
This is the best day ever.
How do you make the case to the American public about why this is?
We're making pies.
My version of that argument I think, is pretty simple.
Pretty simple. You just make it.
Acknowledgement that the U.S. economy and U.S. businesses.
The economy. That's right. You make it with the economy.
And increasing competition from overseas. And the question really is. Policymakers in the United States.
The policy makes the pie.
About it? And critics of the Trans-Pacific Partnership have not put forward any solutions. They don't have a strategy.
We're making pie.
Complaining. Bemoaning the situation.
We're owning the situation.
The president has put forward a very specific strategy.
There's a bomb in Manhattan because of pies.
But the very concerns identified by the self-proclaimed
the policy makes the pies.
Workers. So the president has a solution.
So there's a bomb in Manhattan today. Oh my God.
Agreement to implement the deal.
Josh, what's going on in Manhattan?
Newsflash.
Oh, it's a news flash.
Around the world expect the United States to lead
it's a golf club, you guys.
And President
You've heard it here first.
By negotiating a trade agreement
it's a golf club.
That is in the economic and
with the flash poster.
Of the United States. And now it's time for Congress.
Hi, flash posters.
Both when it comes to looking out for our interests overseas, but also when it comes to looking out for the interests of America's workers.
It's a poster. Don't worry. It's a golf club. Golf club.
I don't think it's a setback yet.
I don't think it's a setback.
The real impediment, the obstacle here is Congress.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't
it's
think
two ladders.
Indication.
Today's show is sponsored by Carmen Figueroa.
Well, I would say the affirmative. There's every indication that Vietnam will move forward with these critically important reforms.
Upgrade your order today.
Approve the deal.
Well, Carmen Figueroa.
Do you have any insight on when the president is going to veto the JASTA legislation? And
I want a big bun. I want a bigger bun.
What kind of work is underway to?
You got it. One bigger bun coming up. Exercise your big bun.
I don't have an update for you on time.
Yeah, this is an IMS currency.
We'll be sure to let all of you know. We continue to make our forceful principled argument to members of Congress.
Hello.
There's openness to our
There's an openness to make the pie.
For our argument.
We
just need to turn that into votes.
We just need to turn that into votes. Voting by aliens. X50.
Now that Donald Trump has said,
what kind of conversation are you having here?
As a disavowal of the
we're making pies, Geico.
Do you think, as Hillary Clinton has said, the president is owed an apology?
Yeah.
The voters are owed an apology.
Oh my God.
Well, I think I'll leave it to other people.
I'll leave it to other people to
analyze and evaluate
that.
Comments of the Republican nominee.
Get out the house. We totally got
there
it.
There are plenty of people who are eager to do that. I'm not one of them.
It's half of it. Just take it.
With regard to
I
don't think the president much cares.
Just have half.
This whole business bigoted.
Yeah, just take it.
Are you willing to go that far? Are you
from me to you, just take it.
Look,
you're gonna have
somebody who I think for understandable reasons is commenting on and
we have a left shot. Oh my God.
Conclusions about the comments of her opponent. There are plenty of other people.
Today's show is sponsored by Carmen Figueroa.
Amen. From this issue, or do you think it's appropriate for it to remain
a political
matter up to the election?
Political matter.
The long version of his birth certificate in this room 5 years ago. He was hoping
5 years ago.
Donald Trump's positions on this through the years remain in.
Hello, Enterprise and Carmen Figueroa.
When it comes to their support for, as
thank you, 5 miles on a Chevy Malibu.
Campaign,
we don't know what color it is.
Criteria,
oh, we know what color it is.
And positions of the individual candidates.
It's the same as the other one.
They're going to support the election.
Look at your watch.
Settled, and what was the effect?
Anonymous, what are you talking about?
When the president released the long-form version,
we're talking about National Car Rental and Enterprise. They're the same company.
John,
but I have a question on this. So
5 miles.
The president may not care what Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
I tell he doesn't care.
Oh my God, yeah.
But there are a lot of people in this country that are deeply affected.
Yeah.
For 5 years.
Yeah.
Donald Trump questioned whether.
Hello, Mitzi. How are you?
The United States was actually an American.
Today is Food TV Day, Food Network.
They were offended by that behavior.
VBAx50. Built by aliens.
Racism, bigotry, or whatever else.
What a perfect day to make
Donald
food.
Trump be held to account for that?
Yeah.
Is that? I think that's what Joe's asking. Is
oh my God, look at that.
It should be over.
Look at that.
Or should Donald Trump be called to account?
Get out the house.
I think in a variety of
half
contexts,
of it, yeah.
I readily acknowledge.
Oh my God.
Elections are about accountability.
Elections are about
and
accounting.
So there are people who have the views.
Who have
that
the HD. Yeah, we got it. It's in the name.
You don't acknowledge that? I mean, do you think people have those views?
It's very.
I'm confident there are plenty of people with a variety of views out there. So
we got it.
I guess it is, isn't it?
It's missing an H somewhere.
My point is, if there are people that do have
Where's
strong
the
feelings
H?
about this, they have a unique opportunity.
It's the other.
To make those feelings known at the ballot box if they choose
it's the
to do
D.
so. But ultimately.
Oh my God, are you serious? That's correct, Anonymous.
Now, Trump said 2 other things.
It's
HD. The president was born in the United States.
High definition. Hello.
It was the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2000.
Totally got it. Totally got it.
There's no evidence to support that.
And he said that he is the one that ended it all.
Well, that does it for our show, everyone. We'll probably make pies tomorrow. If you guys like this show, let us know. This is a different format. Totally different.
Run.
Well, if I can.
Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Carmen Figueroa, thank you. We love you so much. We look forward to your shows this week. This has been a Merriweather Inc. production. Have a wonderful Sunday, NFL Day. Hello.